Elon Musk has been praying about you. Not in the literal sense that his lips moved in your name, but in the realm of symbols, in the dimension where the prayers of innovators echo into eternity. Because every time a human being looks up at the stars and dares to believe that more is possible, it's a prayer, a conversation between courage and the Creator. And in that sacred dialogue, your name was whispered. When Musk looked into the emptiness of space and saw possibility instead of vacuum, when he looked at a broken world and imagined it remade through invention, through risk, through sleepless persistence, something inside him resonated with the part of you that's still waiting to awaken. That resonance was a kind of prayer, a call across time and destiny. And now, God has confirmed it. The same divine spark that guided him to his purpose has started to stir in you. You have to understand, destiny doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It begins quietly, as a curiosity, as a question that refuses to leave you alone. Maybe it's a dream you had years ago that still burns, or a thought that keeps returning even when life tries to drown it out. Maybe you've buried it under practicality, under fear, under the weight of survival, but it's still alive. Elon didn't start with rockets, he started with wonder. With an ache to solve something that seemed unsolvable. That's the same ache stirring inside you. The divine doesn't choose the perfect, it chooses the willing. And if you've read these words and felt a strange fire in your chest, that's not coincidence. That's confirmation. God doesn't send prophets only in robes and sandals. Sometimes he sends them disguised as engineers, entrepreneurs, dreamers who defy the impossible. Their prayer isn't for themselves alone, it's for the next wave of dreamers, for those who will see their boldness and remember that they, too, were created in the image of a limitless God. When Elon Musk dared to build rockets after failure, when he invested everything he had knowing he could lose it all, that act itself was intercession. A living, breathing prayer for you, that when your moment of collapse arrives, you'll remember that even from ashes, you can rise. God took that prayer and placed it like a seed in the soil of your heart. It's strange, isn't it, how often we mistake calling for coincidence. You might think your dreams are random, that your hunger for greatness is vanity, but what if it's sacred? What if it's not ambition you're feeling, but alignment? God doesn't call everyone to build rockets, but he does call everyone to build something. A business, a book, a healing, a movement, a future. What you are meant to build will not look like anyone else's creation, because it's encoded in your soul. And yet, every visionary who ever lived, from the prophets of old to the innovators of today, has prayed for the ones who would come next. You are one of those. You are not late. You are right on time. When God confirms a destiny, it doesn't come with a certificate or applause. It comes with restlessness. It comes with sleepless nights where your heart won't stop whispering, there must be more than this. It comes when you look at your ordinary life and feel the pull of something vast and wild. It's not dissatisfaction, it's the holy discontent that precedes transformation. Elon Musk once said he wanted to die on Mars, just not on impact. That statement wasn't about space, it was about faith. Faith that life could stretch beyond the known, that risk could become legacy. When he said that, he didn't just speak for himself. He spoke for every soul who's ever longed to transcend limitation. He spoke for you, and maybe you've doubted yourself. Maybe life has convinced you that you're too late, too small, too broke, too broken. But destiny doesn't check your bank account or your resume, it checks your fire. The same God who whispered purpose into stars also whispered it into you. You are made of the same material as miracles. The universe is not outside you, it's within you, waiting for you to give it permission to unfold. Elon's rockets don't rise because of fuel alone, they rise because of faith disguised as mathematics. Every equation is a declaration, I believe this will fly. And your dreams are no different. They will lift when you decide to trust the unseen, but here's the truth, God's confirmation rarely comes as comfort. It comes as challenge. It doesn't tell you that everything will be easy, it tells you that it will be worth it. When Elon stood on the edge of bankruptcy, when everyone said SpaceX would fail, he was standing in the valley where most dreams die. Yet in that valley, God whispered to him the same message he's whispering to you now, keep going. I am not done with you. The test of faith isn't whether you believe when it's working, it's whether you believe when it's breaking. The confirmation doesn't come when the door opens, it comes when you knock for the 100th time and refuse to stop. Every great destiny begins with the decision to be misunderstood. You will be ridiculed. People will call you delusional, unrealistic, obsessed. They called Noah insane for building an ark when there was no rain. They called Elon reckless for sending rockets when so many had exploded. But God always hides his wisdom in foolishness, so only the brave can find it. You have to be willing to look ridiculous before you can become remarkable. That's the price of divine confirmation, not applause, but opposition. Because if everyone understood you, your dream would be too small, and maybe right now, you're in the season of obscurity. You're working, building, praying, and no one sees. You post. But no one reacts. You give, but no one thanks you. You believe, but nothing moves. That's not failure, that's formation. That's where God hides his chosen ones, refining their character before revealing their calling. Even Elon, before Tesla and SpaceX, spent years unseen, reading, coding, planning. Every great light must first endure darkness. Don't curse the silence, it's the sound of your roots growing deep enough to hold the weight of your future. God's confirmation doesn't just bless you, it transforms you. You will begin to think differently, see differently, walk differently. You will start to feel drawn toward people who dream on a higher frequency, conversations that pull you upward instead of down. You'll crave purpose more than pleasure, truth more than comfort. That's the shift happening now. That's the divine alignment Musk's prayer set in motion, not because he is divine, but because he acted in faith, and faith always echoes. Every bold act of faith reverberates through time, touching hearts it was never meant to reach. Yours included. Understand this: you are not just reading words, you are awakening. The confirmation is not coming, it's already here. The fact that your spirit resonates with this message is proof that you are being called higher. You might not see the full path yet, but that's by design. God doesn't show you the map, He gives you momentum. He wants you to walk by faith, not GPS. Because if you saw every step, you'd lose the wonder. You'd forget to trust. You'd stop praying. The mystery is mercy. It keeps you humble enough to depend on Him, hungry enough to keep moving forward. So move. Even if you're afraid. Even if you fail. Especially if you fail. Because every failure is a doorway, the only way to the next level of revelation. Elon didn't succeed because he avoided failure, he succeeded because he refused to let it define him. He turned setbacks into fuel, loss into language, pain into propulsion. And that's your invitation too. God doesn't waste pain, He recycles it into purpose. Every closed door, every betrayal, every delay was training for your next ascent. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. There's something powerful that happens when a soul finally decides to rise. Heaven notices. The universe shifts. God rearranges circumstances to meet your movement. Faith doesn't wait for evidence, it creates it. So even if your dream feels impossible, speak to it anyway. Write the business plan. Sketch the invention. Start the channel. Apply for the grant. Call the mentor. Post the idea. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Perfection is a lie invented by fear. The divine doesn't need your perfection, it needs your participation. God can only multiply what you move toward. That's the confirmation. That's the miracle. Not that Elon Musk prayed about you, but that through his example. Through his defiance of gravity and limitation, God prayed through him for you. Because heaven speaks through vessels who dare to dream. And now the mantle has shifted. It's your turn. You are the one someone else has been waiting for, the one whose courage will give them permission to believe again. You are the prayer God is answering for a future generation. You have to understand something sacred about timing. God doesn't rush destiny, but He never delays it either. You're exactly where you're meant to be, not because everything feels perfect, but because everything that hurts, everything that confuses you, is shaping you. The waiting season is not punishment, it's protection. It's God keeping you hidden while He builds your strength, your discipline, your clarity. Elon Musk didn't become who he is overnight. He was forged in rejection, in endless workdays, in visions that no one else could see. That's what's happening to you now, you're being forged in the invisible. Every sleepless night, every lonely effort, every small act of faith is hammering you into the shape of your calling. And when God confirms something, He doesn't do it through ease, He does it through endurance. That's why it feels hard right now. Because the weight you feel is proof that you're carrying something valuable. Diamonds are born in pressure, stars are born in collapse, and destinies are born in discomfort. Elon's prayer, symbolic as it is, wasn't for you to have an easy life, it was for you to have an impactful one. He prayed with his work, with his risks, with his refusal to settle for less than impossible. That prayer moved through time like a ripple in eternity, reaching you at this exact moment, because now it's your turn to build something that outlives you. You don't have to be an engineer to engineer your purpose. You don't need millions to start, you need momentum. Destiny always begins with what's in your hand. Moses had a staff. David had a sling. Elon had code. You might have a notebook, a laptop, a skill, a small idea that keeps tugging at your heart. Don't dismiss it. That small thing might be the seed that grows into something divine. The universe responds not to the size of your resources, but to the sincerity of your intention. When your intention aligns with divine purpose, doors open where there were no walls. That's the mystery of faith-driven innovation. It multiplies what you dare to move toward, and when the resistance comes, because it will, don't interpret it as rejection. The storm isn't there to stop you, it's there to strengthen your wings. Every time Elon faced failure, he wasn't being punished, he was being prepared. God allows obstacles not to break you, but to introduce you to your resilience. The divine confirmation is not that the path is smooth, but that you keep walking when it's not. Heaven applauds persistence more than perfection. If you stumble, rise. If you doubt, pray. If you fall apart, rebuild. The only way to fail destiny is to stop trying. There's a spiritual law that few understand. The moment you decide to rise, resistance increases. That's not bad energy, that's spiritual gravity. Just as rockets need immense thrust to escape Earth's pull, your purpose requires force to break free from comfort, fear, and old identity. God gives you that force through challenges. Every setback builds thrust. Every disappointment builds focus. Every rejection builds resilience. So when you feel pressure, don't shrink, push harder. It means you're nearing breakthrough velocity, but don't let comparison slow you down. Elon's path is not your path. Your calling might not involve rockets or cars or technology. It might involve art, healing, teaching, leading, creating spaces of love and justice. What matters is not what you do, but why you do it. Your why is sacred. It's the compass that keeps you aligned when success tries to seduce you. God isn't impressed by fame, He's moved by faithfulness. The question isn't whether you'll build something big, it's whether you'll build something true. The truth is, we live in a generation obsessed with visibility. Everyone wants to be seen before they've been shaped. But divine timing doesn't work that way. You must be formed before you're famous. You must be disciplined before you're discovered. Elon didn't post his process for validation, he lived it for transformation. He failed publicly but worked privately. He kept going when applause turned to mockery. And you will face that too. People will doubt your dream until it succeeds, and then they'll call it obvious. That's human nature. But don't waste energy proving them wrong. Prove God right instead. Prove that His whisper in your spirit was worth trusting. Remember this, confirmation doesn't always come through miracles. Sometimes it comes through moments. A conversation that lights your spirit, a sign you didn't expect, a sudden clarity that cuts through your confusion. That's God nudging you. That's Him saying, yes, this is the way, walk in it. Don't overthink it. Faith isn't logic, it's obedience. The ones who change the world aren't the most qualified, they're the most obedient to the call in their hearts. They listen, they act, they adjust, and they keep moving. You don't need certainty, you need courage. And courage doesn't mean you're never afraid. It means you move despite the fear. Elon didn't build SpaceX because he knew it would work, he built it because he believed it could. And that's all faith ever asks, not proof, but belief. When you take the first step, God meets you in motion. He provides the next piece only after you've moved on the first. The Red Sea didn't part until Moses stepped forward. The miracle is always on the other side of motion. So start. Write the idea, make the call, take the class, risk the yes. Your obedience activates heaven's orchestration. You might think you're ordinary, but that's the camouflage of the extraordinary. God hides greatness in everyday people so that pride won't find it too easily. You've been chosen not because you're perfect, but because you're positioned. Positioned to show that faith and innovation, prayer and progress, heaven and earth can work together. Elon's symbolic prayer wasn't for fame, it was for the awakening of a generation that would no longer separate spirituality from science, purpose from progress, faith from action. That's what you're part of, the merger of heaven's vision and human effort. You are the bridge between what is and what could be, and here's a secret, destiny often disguises itself as duty. The thing you're doing right now, the job that feels small, the task that feels thankless, that's your training ground. Tesla didn't start as Tesla. It started as an idea dismissed by experts. The people you serve today, the skills you're learning, the challenges you're facing, they're all rehearsal for something larger. Don't despise small beginnings. Every skyscraper starts with a hole in the ground. Every empire begins with a single brick. God is watching how you handle the small to see if He can trust you with the big. When the confirmation comes, it won't feel like a lightning strike. It'll feel like peace. That quiet certainty that says, "This is it." Peace is heaven's signature. It's God's way of saying you're aligned. Don't chase signs in the sky when the sign might already be in your spirit. Elon's path wasn't lined with prophecies, it was lined with persistence. He followed peace in chaos, focus in noise, faith in uncertainty. That's the blueprint for every destiny. Keep walking until peace says, "Stop." Keep building until peace says, "Release." Keep believing until peace says, "It's time." And when you finally see results, when your dream takes shape, when the impossible begins to unfold, remember to stay grounded. God lifts you not so you can look down, but so you can lift others. Elon's symbolic prayer for you was never just about innovation, it was about impact. It was about lighting torches in others. The true confirmation of your calling is not how high you rise, but how many rise with you. Purpose is never selfish. It multiplies. It flows outward. The more you give it away, the stronger it grows. So don't wait for permission to be great. You already have divine clearance. The Creator of galaxies has confirmed your potential. Elon Musk's journey was simply a prophetic echo of what's possible when a human refuses to settle. You are that echo now. You are the continuation of that prayer. You are the answer to someone else's hopelessness, the evidence that faith still works, that courage still matters, that dreams are still divine. You don't need to see the whole staircase, you just need to take the first step. God will handle the rest, the confirmation isn't coming tomorrow. It's happening now, in your awareness. In your hunger, in your willingness to believe again. You've read this far for a reason. You were meant to be reminded. You were meant to remember who you are. You were meant to rise.